own, you're saying?
No, birds.
Oh, yes, like
cute little birds.
bush tits and house sparrows and things like that. Oh, that'd be fun. You are someone who I think of as having a lot of expertise there as well.
Thank you.
By the way, I am very sorry about the other suggestion that was made there. I think it's unfair. And I'll be honest, I don't know the size, nor do I want to. But I would love for you guys to have a freewheeling conversation about small domestic North American
Just think
birds.
about Woody, you know?
Brandon, I always am. Guys, again, we've, I think, dealt handily with this week with Joe Rogan Experience, but that's now in our rearview mirror. Doug, it's time we look through the pristine and crystal clear windshield of the car that is, make Doug stop playing with your boom. I'm going to have to edit that out. We're going to look through the windshield, and you have stepped on what was really shaping up to be a lovely, lovely metaphor. Oh, I'll be the judge of that. You think it makes no noise? Big old jump in your sound wave. Doug, next week, and Brandon, I don't think we're showing our hands at all, but actually happened to make a reference to Alexis Ohanian, who is the host of Business Schooled. This is a relatively new podcast, but I thought, Doug, if we're there to tell people, hey, you should listen to this, and this is why, or maybe you shouldn't listen to this podcast, this is why, we ought to touch on a new and noteworthy. So now that we've just dealt with two absolute giants in the podcasting world, let's get to what might be tomorrow's next giant. We're going to listen to 2 episodes as always. Lesson 3, Scaling in Perfect Harmony, and that is what they're called. They're called lessons, and perhaps you'll discover why. I suspect you will when you listen. And
if he doesn't,
yes,
I'll feel very bad for Doug. Or maybe for Alexis, that his inability to
teach Doug.
Yes, it's Doug specifically. And then your second episode is called Lesson 8, Minding Your Dad's Business.
Doug, did you notice how we kind of handed off that like the Beastie Boys?
Yes.
Doug, did you really enjoy the way we did that?
Yes.
Doug, and for those of you at home, I mean, those who are regular listeners of the show, you can probably guess what Doug's and Brandon, what's he doing?
He's writing it down.
He is indeed.
He's gone and written it down.
He's gone and written it down.
Taking notes like a good little boy.
He is. I mean, Doug is the best, but that's why we have had this fundamental change to the show, and we're no longer asking those 2 questions, which used to be so core.
I even wrote down the word lesson and underlined it.
I mean, I think you should. Doug, there's been confusion in the past. The more data, the better.
Were you a good student in school, in elementary school?
Elementary school?
Yeah, elementary school. Were you a good student? Yes or no answer?
Yes.
Okay, good.
High school, no.
No, I didn't ask for that, Doug.
No.
Doug, I don't want that.
But you know what? I like our listeners just to know a little more about me.
They don't want to know any more about you.
Sure they don't.
Doug, what was your favorite book that you read in high school for school? No, I'm just kidding. We're having a little fun.
The Hungry Caterpillar.
Doug.
Same one, every grade.
Yeah, he
so hungry.
rereads it every year in spring.
I read so many books in high school that it's hard to really just focus in on one.
Now, Doug, our listeners already know that you only had to read one book in school, and that you don't remember. We tried to figure out what the book was.
It could just be my memory. Like, what if I had to read all these great books and just don't remember?
By the way,
of
honestly, Doug, having known you now for nearly 30 years, it'll be 30 years in just a couple months. I honestly think that's a very real possibility. That, like,
too.
if you had like a good friend from high
too.
school, be like, "Dude, what are you talking about? Remember when we read this?" You just start laughing and go, "Oh, okay." I think that's very possible.
I'm excited for the day. I'm excited for the day that we make a reference to a podcast that we know Doug listened to, and he's like, "I don't think I listened to that one. I don't think I listened to that podcast."
That's definitely going to happen.
It's going to happen.
And
I think
he's
soon.
going to kind of push back on us, like, "No, I definitely different." I've got an idea though. Book club episode where we ask our listeners to read a book. We all read the book, and then we give it a critical review.
That might be asking a lot. Let's plan that for the end of 2019.
That's maybe episode 100.
Yeah, I like that you're thinking ahead though.
Absolutely.
Plan for the long term.
I'm always thinking ahead, but right now it's time to stop thinking at all. By the way, we've
turn off your
we've
brains.
never explicitly said this, but it's our hope that you just stop thinking for yourself when the episode ends. But not so long that you don't rate and review us on iTunes. And please write a real review. You know, we joke about that, but it actually really does help the show. And if you are enjoying the show, it would mean a great deal to us. And of course, you can always visit us at mdltpodcast.com. You can write to us at mdltpodcast@gmail.com. And we have a great Twitter. Brandon, that's that.
MDLT Podcast.
It is indeed. And Doug, our Facebook can be found at
MDLT Podcast.
Oh, folks, it's just so easy. So we say goodbye for this week. We look forward to next week. Thank you, as always, for letting us into your heads and hearts. Keep exploring, keep listening, and you can bet your sweet, tight buns we're going to keep making Doug listen to podcasts. Bye-bye.